We're here, baby. We're here. What's going on, y'all? It's Logan and EJ, baby. Welcome back to Swampcast. Oh yeah, we're here. We're getting more consistent, baby. That's when you know it's we're getting closer. I don't know. The best time of the year kind of is here, baby. We got March Madness finally popping off, baby. The SEC tournament finally announced. The whole bracket there, so we're gonna dive into all that, man. A lot of basketball stuff to talk about. It's like I said, it's March, baby. It's that time of the year. We're then going to talk about a lot of football stuff as well. We had quite a bit of different media availability, things that the coaches went up and talked about, offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator. John Summerall went up and had his as well, and some players. So we've got a few things to talk about, injury report, things like that. Spring ball has begun. But EJ, how we feeling, baby, on this beautiful Sunday, man?
We locked in. Logan's got his, but, he's getting it cleaned up. He's got his retro national champs. Man, we're ready. We're ready for March Madness. This is the best time of the year. I got I guess it's my Chicago White Sox March leprechaun green hat going on here. Man, lots to talk about basketball. It's a beautiful, beautiful time of the year.
Oh, beautiful time of the year, man. And especially because, like, for me growing up, like, I follow basketball now, but growing up, I just had to wait till football season came around. And so it's nice to actually have a good basketball team and just basketball overall, get into it, man. So there's sports year round. You're not just waiting for those, 4 months out of the year, the entire time. So yeah, no, I'm very excited about this. CJ starting to heat up like we talked about. The bracket has dropped for the SEC tourney. So do you want to start with that?
Yeah, let's go for it. I'll start by just giving a quick we did play Kentucky yesterday, and I think Logan. Wait, did you watch the whole game,
I
or did
did.
you
I
just
did.
watch
Yo,
parts of it?
I ain't gonna lie. When I first joined, it was 11-2, and I'm like, all right, we're chilling. And then all of a sudden, dude, they catch back up, and I'm like, I'm gonna stop watching this shit. We started to pull away, and then we had like that 15, or I think it was almost 20-point lead. It might have been 18 points, and then Kentucky fought back a little bit. Scary game, man. They're late, but yeah, no, I did watch the whole thing, man. I almost thought about turning it off though, because I was like, do I have the reverse effect? I was like, Aberdeen better not hit a three, because we know what that means. And he missed a lot of them until he had three chances. But anyway, go
ahead. Yeah, it's like an ongoing joke. Like if we're doing good and then Logan starts watching us, like we start losing, or if Logan's watching us, we're winning, and then when he doesn't watch us, we start losing. So I'm just like, okay, turn the TV off, turn it off. But yeah, man, this was the game that I was sort of circling to say, are we ready for March Madness? I mean, a lot of commentators are hyping up this team, saying, oh, they're gonna go back to back and all this kind of stuff, and that sounds great. But you were going to Kentucky on the road, last game of the year. Kentucky is, they're Kentucky. It's a historic program. They've got, a lot on the line. They were playing for a lot more than we were. Like, we were already in the tournament. We already won the SEC. We already, did everything we needed to do. Kentucky was the team playing for seeding in the NCAA tournament, but also they could have been as high as a number 4 seed in the SEC tournament, which means you get a double bye, so you don't have to play till Friday. Or they could be number 9, which they got, meaning you got to play on Wednesday. So the difference between playing on Wednesday and Friday, guys, is just huge. Like, you have to win 5 games in 5 days to win the SEC tournament. That's a bummer. So for Florida, started off, the first 30 minutes were great. I think we had a 20-point lead in the first 30 minutes. The last 10 minutes, it's kind of, I've seen that from this team before. We've kind of taken our foot off the gas. But the one thing that I'll say about this game that is still a little bit of a question mark, I know we're trying to find blemishes in the team, but for me, it's when the going gets rough. We've got like 5 or 6 guys averaging in double figures. When the going gets rough and you start getting a little bit cold and you're trying to hang on, or maybe you're trying to come back, who are you giving the ball to? in those last few minutes of the game. Like, is it Hauk? Is it Xavier Lee? Is it Boogie Flint? Like last year, it was Walter Clay Jr. He was like, no, give me I'm taking this ball and I'm scoring. And y'all just do your thing and give me the ball. Who is that guy this year? Um, to me, it should be Hauk. But again, Hauk is not a guard. So um, that's where Boogie Flan and Xavier Lee, I think, have to really um, command the moment, because it's going to take one of those two guys to say, okay, give me the ball. I'm going to get to the rack, create, or give someone else the opportunity, and I'm going to go in and make a shot. So that's the one thing that kind of in this game it showed me a little bit, because Kentucky made it it was a 4-point game. I'm like, it was just 20. And then it's like, we got to take control. So that's the one question mark that I have for this team. But other than that, you know, number one seed in the SEC tournament.
Yes, sir. Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, it's when you look at this, the guys in the paint, man. All these dudes are monsters. I think we honestly have the best front court in the country, and I don't even think it's close. I mean, you got Chimalu, who just goes in there. It's best rebounder. You know what I mean? Great defensive player. Unbelievable. I mean, he was dominating against Kentucky, bro. Just all over the court. Love to see it. And yeah, just all those big bodies up there, hand locked in, which I know we talked about. You got, of course, Hauk. Like, there's a lot of big bodies in there that really know how to play. But the guard play is going to be interesting, man. And you saw moments too when we started to kind of take our foot off of the gas a little bit, where those guys started to slow down a little bit. The guards were not as aggressive, or I don't know, they were just lacking a little bit of that grit there late, and I think that was a big reason why they, and that's when, luckily, we have guys like Hal who know how to step up, and a guy with the big body like that can shoot threes, you know what I mean, and really play on the perimeter if he needs to. But yeah, guard play, I agree, is going to be everything. And we're just going to play very disciplined basketball as well, which I know early on turnovers were kind of a problem, so it's good to kind of see that get cleaned up a little bit, for sure. But yeah, no, man, I'm very, very excited.
Yes.
I love
It'll
it.
be interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. But we're
100%.
ready for Nashville, baby.
Yes, sir. Let's take a look at it, EJ. I don't know if you can see the screen, but we have the March Madness thing up. None of the picks are up right now. EJ is gonna go game by game, and he's gonna predict these and pick a winner the whole way through. But I mean, first thing I see is, we got Kentucky. I mean, because I don't think LSU definitely won't make it past second round. I don't think so. It's either gonna be Kentucky or Missouri. Going in the quarterfinal against Florida. There on this upcoming Friday. So it's starting pretty quick. Both those teams have prevented challenges, because even the first game against Kentucky, EJ, if I'm not mistaken, the same thing happened. Florida was up, and then Kentucky fought back there late. So they're a gritty team that's going to want to win. And so they've done that 2 times against us. I wouldn't be surprised if they, if we do play them a third time, if they do try to fight back there late again. And then you have Missouri, of course, who last time we played them didn't go very well for the Gators. So, even though number one seed's incredible, there's 2 teams here that are pretty challenging too, EJ.
Yeah, this tournament can really be, if you played it out, it could be like the revenge tour for the Gators, because we can have a chance to get back all the teams that beat us in the regular season. So like Missouri is, you're up. Same thing happened last year. Missouri beat us in the regular season, and then we beat them in the SEC tournament. This year, same thing happened. Missouri beat us in the regular season. And then we also got UConn, Duke, Arizona potentially to play in March Madness, if we can, win all the way through.
100%.
So, we got our boy Tommy in the chat. What's he saying? What you got a question? Let's see. When Kentucky went on their run, it's because we missed easy shots at the basket. It was just unlucky bounces, but they were high percentage shot. I think any of the 5 starters plus Urban can take shots. Yeah, and that's the one thing about this Florida team that I've noticed. And Logan, you hit on it, is the front court. So when we play a team that has some legit size and can contest you at the rim, like play interior defense, that's like one of many things you have to have if you're going to beat Florida. So Kentucky has that one component. Teams like Arkansas, believe it or not, as good as Arkansas is, they don't have interior defense to stop Florida's relentless ability to score, drive at the rim, have confidence driving, and then Condon and Chinyalu in the paint are just going to be monsters down there. Um, Kentucky has Moreno. Like Moreno's a true freshman, but that kid is he's like a tank standing under the rim, hard to move out of the way. He blocks shots, so they affect your confidence when you're driving at the rim. And Condon's not able to go for 25 on Kentucky. So when you play a team like that, and that's the one thing that Missouri does bring. So when you look at this bracket, I got Kentucky moving on in game one. They're gonna play Missouri. Um, that's going to be an interesting game because, you know, Kentucky, I think, is going to have a tough little time playing against LSU. Um, but I definitely think they'll win. And then you got to turn right around the next day and play Missouri, a big, strong, physical team. Now, Missouri is Superman when they play at home. They're like, who's Superman's sidekick? That's who they are when they play on the road. So let's see what happens um, in that first round game. But that'll be interesting. I'm hoping Missouri wins just because I want payback against them. But I'm going to take Kentucky in that first game. Um, Mississippi State, Auburn. Mississippi State's just so bad. Like they all they've got is Hubbard. Auburn at least has Pettiford and Keyshawn Hall in the backcourt. So I'm going to go Auburn to beat Mississippi State. Auburn is going to be playing desperate. They're the last team in, according to Joe Lunardi, even though they've lost 15 games, which is insane to think that they're going to make the tournament after that. But they did beat us, so there you go. Um, Ole Miss, Texas. I'm going to go Texas in that one. Texas is another team that doesn't really play that well on the road. Um, but I think Texas will beat Ole Miss. Um, Tremont Mark is a guy to watch on that team. He has this funny shot where when he shoots the ball, he falls down. He like fades away and falls down. And every now and then he punks the refs into calling a foul on that shot. But they're going to move on. And then I got Oklahoma beating South Carolina pretty easily in the nightcap. Oklahoma is playing really well right now. So then you get to the second round. I'm going to go Missouri over Kentucky. I mean, I honestly think this can go either way, given the fact that Missouri doesn't really play great on the road. But I'm just going to go Missouri because they've got a little bit of rest. Um, and Kentucky, it wouldn't shock me at all if Kentucky won this, but I'm going to go Missouri. Um, Auburn versus Tennessee. Man, let me tell you, Auburn's going to be real desperate in this game, but I'm going to go Tennessee. It'll be interesting to see if Tennessee doesn't have Nate Ament, who is their five-star freshman. He's a really good player. He rebounds, he scores. He's been hurt the last couple of games, but I'm going to go Tennessee in that one. Then you got Texas versus Georgia. Now, this is actually a game. This is a game. Um, I'm going to go Georgia in this game, Mike White to win this game, but only because they got the rest. But it would not surprise me at all if Texas won this one. Then I'm going to go Oklahoma over Bucky Ball to beat Texas A&M in the nightcap. Um, I just think Bucky Ball it's going to be interesting seeing if Bucky Ball, well, it's their first game, but Bucky Ball in a SEC tournament, I wouldn't expect them to go that far because they do that full court press the whole 40 minutes. That's going to be tough to duplicate 3 straight days without getting completely worn out. But I'm going to go Oklahoma in the upset. Uh, Mizzou, Florida, Gators, baby. But even though Missouri I'm going to tell you right now, Missouri, they've got size. And when you have size, you can really uh, give Florida pause scoring at the rim. And so that's what Missouri presents to Florida. Um, this is going to be a game where Missouri also has a guard named Barrett who's got like the Barrett and Tyler Tanner. They got the hairdos. That's how you can tell them apart. Um, he's been playing really well. I'm gonna go Florida in this one. I think having 2 days off to really know, hey, we just played Kentucky, so we got a game plan for them, and let's prep all week for Missouri, and we want payback. We're gonna really want to win that game, so I'm gonna go Florida. Tennessee, Vandy. I'm gonna go Vandy in the upset. Even though technically it wouldn't be an upset because they're a 4 seed and they just beat Tennessee. It's in Nashville. So, hey, give me Vanderbilt. Georgia versus Alabama. I think Georgia gives them a game, but I'm going to go the Crimson Tide to win that one. And then I'm going to go Arkansas to end the Oklahoma Cinderella hopes and advance to the semifinals. So we got Florida, Vandy, Alabama, Arkansas. It's all chalk. 1 versus 4, 2 versus 3. I'm going to go Florida to beat Vandy. And I'm going to go Arkansas to beat Alabama in a payback game. But I don't know. Acuff, he was sitting out in that last. He's been injured. I expect him to be back. That game can go either way too. But I'm going to go Arkansas with some payback. I like Coach Cal, and I like that Arkansas team. And then Florida versus Arkansas in the final game of the next Sunday. So hopefully next Sunday we'll be saying we're SEC tournament champs again. And I got the Gators winning. Now, here's why I have Florida winning. And a lot of Arkansas fans, they were talking trash before the Florida game this year.
They're still talking trash, bro. Heavy.
Yeah, they're still talking. But that's Arkansas.
After losing by 34 points, it's insane, bro.
But that's Arkansas. They're gonna talk their trash, and they're a good team. But the reason why I go with Florida against Arkansas is to stop Florida, you have to stop the flood. And if you can't stop the floodgates, which is the interior post defense, which neither Alabama or Arkansas possess, is baby food all game for Florida. So Florida is going to be shooting 50 to 60% field goals because all their shots are coming at the rim with Condon, Chinyalu, and drives to the basket. There's no resistance from Alabama and Arkansas. There's no resistance from, when you look at Vandy, who are going to play. So the only team that can resist is Missouri, who's ironically the first game. So you get past Missouri, it's baby food in the paint. And then it's, well, can Arkansas make threes? Can Alabama make threes? Can Vanderbilt make every shot? I just don't think that's happening in a tournament setting. And that's why I think Florida will win this game. But we'll see. I mean, Florida has never won the national championship without winning the SEC tournament. We talked about that. So I'm going to go Florida to go win the tournament. But one thing I want to point out, why did we want to be number 1 seed in this? Look at the game times. So when you're the number 1 seed, you're the only team that if you advance, you get to play all of your games 24 hours later. So like if you're the number 2 seed, look at you play at 7 p.m. on Friday, then you have to turn around and play at 3:30 on Saturday, then you have to turn around and play at 1. So you're never really playing 24 hours apart. I know it really doesn't really matter. Everybody's amped up, but those extra couple of hours, few hours of rest and
Recovery.
film review, they make a difference. So yeah, I'm gonna go Florida.
I like it. Yeah, no, like I said, I haven't watched enough basketball to make a, educated prediction or anything here. So EJ's going to take the mantle with that. But yeah, no, I agree. Missouri scares me. I think didn't we play them early on in the tournament last year? I think we did, and I remember we
It was the
played
first
them.
game. It was in the quarterfinals.
Yep, I remember, and everyone was like, same exact thing of like, oh shit, they beat us before. It's a little scary, you know what I mean? We had the same exact. I mean, obviously the SEC was a lot worse, so or a lot better. I mean, but worse when it came to like you couldn't just throw some games aside. You had
Yep.
you talked about EJ. It's one of the best conferences we've ever seen in modern era college basketball, and how just loaded the SEC was top to bottom. Um, and so there was a lot more elements to it, but still that first Missouri game was pretty scary. So I agree. I think now with more of these teams doing rebuilds and with our strengths not really lining up with some of these other schools, I think if once we get past Missouri, we'll feel a little bit better. But yeah, that's gonna be a tough game, man. I'm curious to see how they play. We got is that Neo in the chat? I think they have to win the SEC tournament to be a locked in number 1 seed. I 100% agree. I mean, I personally think so. We can talk about that now, EJ. I was really looking into it on UConn, right? Obviously, UConn loses, was it to Marquette, right? And now, I mean, we have so many more quad 1 wins. Like, it's something that I've really learned a lot about basketball coming into this, and we talked about EJ. You introduced me to it. I mean, I have it written down here. Florida against quad 1 is 12-5 after that Kentucky game. UConn is 7-2. So yeah, Florida's lost more quad 1 games than UConn has, but we've also won, what is that, 5 more? So
Yeah.
there is that. I think the committee has to take into account moving forward, and especially if Florida can win 3 of these games in a row with Missouri, Vanderbilt, and Arkansas, or Tennessee, whoever does get there. Then yeah, I think that they're 100% a locked number 1 after that. It will be pretty interesting though, EJ. So what's your response to that question? How do you feel about that? And do you think that Florida does need to win all the way through to get that number 1 seed? I'm assuming so.
So it's interesting. Do you have that graphic I sent you that shows like why it's
Yep.
important to be a number 1 seed? We can put that up and
It's on the screen right now.
um so there's a couple of trains of thought with um who should be the last number 1 seed, Florida or UConn. One train of thought is the committee locks in all of their seeding on Saturday. They don't even look at the conference tournament finals on Sunday because the seeding is set on Saturday. The only thing that could possibly change by the time you get to Sunday is um, uh, uh, if somebody wins that was otherwise not going to be in the tournament. So, like, if you had a team like Oklahoma make it to the final and win it, now the committee has to do their backup plan and put Oklahoma in and take an at-large team out. They call those bid stealers. Um, so if you're going from that perspective, Florida only really has to win Friday and Saturday. So that's beating in our projections Missouri and then Vanderbilt. And then your number 1 seed is already locked in because they're not going to go back and change and say, okay, well, now we're going to give it to UConn and switch all this stuff around. So that's one school of thought. The other school of thought is, well, UConn beat Florida in the regular season. That's true, but basketball is not football. Okay, which we learn that. You play so many games in basketball that one game out of 30 when you play someone is a bullet point, but it is not the overall definitive determinant factor as to are you definitively better than another team. You know what I mean? Like it's a data point, but it's not the end all be all like football. So that's number where one game really does matter because you only play like 10 or 12 games. Then the other thing is, the Big East was very, very weak this year compared to the SEC. The Big East, you had UConn, who's number 1, and then, well, technically, St. John's, believe it or not, is the Big East champ. Because with UConn losing that game to Marquette, which is shocking because Marquette was not a good team this year. They were 11-19. I think they only won 5 conference games, and UConn just wet the bed. I mean, you got guys, you have a lot to play for. You're playing for a number one seed and a conference championship, and you get beat by Marquette. Just not great. So, um, and I believe that's like a quad 3 loss for uh uh UConn. So, at the end of the day, when you look at the last 15 games of the season, UConn really has only produced about 5 quad 1 wins, and you're talking about like a road win against Seton Hall, who's number 57 in the net rankings, whereas Florida just went to Kentucky, who's 28th and won. We also, have wins against Vanderbilt, Alabama, and Arkansas, who are 16th, 17th, and 18th, respectively. So, it would be sort of, we would get it if you were to give UConn the number one seed because you're gonna, if you say, well, they beat you in the, in December. But the reason why Todd Golden wants to be the number one seed is the chart on the screen. He's an analytics person. We all should be analytics people, right? Don't we love the analytics, Logan?
We
We
do.
love the analytics.
When they
We
work in our
love the
favor.
yeah, we love exactly. Like so the reason why you want to be that number one seed is that you are just much more likely based on just the numbers to advance. Like look at this. Look at it. These are the percentage you have to make the second round, Sweet 16, win the championship if you're a number one seed versus the top 4 seed, any of the other 4 seeds. Since 1979, there's been 46 national champions. 29 of them have been number one seeds. So like two thirds. 7 of the last 8 champs have been number one seeds. The only one that wasn't was UConn. The first year they went back to back. I think they were a number 4 seed. They just got rolling. 40% of all Final Four teams are usually number one seeds. 66 out of 164 spots. Um, and number one seeds are 5 times more likely to win the championship than a number 2 seed. And I know if you're just a great team, it doesn't really matter what seed you are. But if all things are equal and you get that number one seed, your path mathematically, probability wise, is more favorable for you going further. Um, Additionally to that, they would put us in the Tampa bracket, or we technically be in the South region, but we'd be able to play the first 2 games in Tampa, which would be a huge advantage for us because obviously we'd have a lot of fans at the game.
I'll probably go,
Um,
honestly.
yeah, yeah. I mean, we'd all probably go, right? So who wouldn't want to be the number one seed in that situation? And that's another reason why number one seeds always advance is because you get the favorable location close to your fan base. So last year, um, we were in North Carolina. I mean, I guess that wasn't really that. The first round was in North Carolina. Then we had to go to San Francisco, which hey, I liked it because I'm out here. But that's just another thing to look at. I would still right now I would say Florida should be the number one seed because if you're just thinking about from a merit standpoint in terms of who's playing better and who deserves it, a team that's on an 11 game winning streak that has won all of their games in those 11 games by an average of 22 points a game against a conference that's going to have 11 teams projected to be in the tournament and you're winning those games by 22 points. And UConn, yeah, UConn's great. They have 2 really good wins against Florida, and I think they beat Illinois. But the last half of the season, you're playing the conference. You haven't really beaten anybody. You beat St. John's, but so did Kentucky, who we beat twice. So it's kind of like it doesn't really add up. Um, so we'll see what happens. For right now, it would be surprising if we won the first game Friday, and then against Vanderbilt on Saturday, and that should lock us into the number one seed.
100%. Yeah. Okay. Great. Well, there you go, Neo. It'll be interesting for sure. Uh, yeah. And like you said, you gotta win those. You gotta win those two. So we'll see what happens, man. That Missouri game is gonna be everything. I'm excited. It's all gonna go down this week, man. I'm pumped. Um, anything else regarding the basketball, EJ, that's jumping out to you? Anything you want to
Well,
touch on?
maybe we could take like 5 minutes and look at the Joe Lunardi's latest
Yes.
projections.
Yes. Let me get that up for y'all.
That'd be kind of cool just to look at that for like 5 minutes and
Beautiful. It should be on the
talk a little bit
screen
about.
now. I know you're probably a little bit behind, but it is popped up. So
Okay. All right, sweet. Yeah, so a lot of people, like giving shade to Joe Lunardi, like he's not accurate. He's actually pretty accurate. Like 97% of the time he gets the teams right. There are a couple more that are out that are like 97.5%, so they're a little bit more accurate, but Joe Lunardi makes the big bucks, so we're just going to go with his bracket. It's updated as of last night at 9 p.m. So if you scroll down to the very first, uh, is this the East? Are we looking at the East?
yeah. So you got East, Midwest, and then if you scroll down to South, which is like the Houston, Tampa thing with Florida. Is that what you want me to go to?
Yeah, so his four number one seeds are Duke, Arizona, Michigan, and then Florida. So if you see right now, he's got us in Tampa where we'd play Howard, or we'd play the winner of the playing game, Howard or BCU. So that'll be fun. Um, and then the 8-9, which is Miami or Ohio State. Now that would be an interesting draw because Miami play Miami and Tampa. That's kind of a little bit of an advantage for them. We played Miami early this season, and it was a relatively close game until like the last 10 minutes where we kind of went on a little bit of a run to beat them going away. Um, that would be a fun matchup, I think, if we were to play them again. Um, and then look at the 4-5, man. So I actually think that the 4-5, um, Arkansas and Kansas, and the 12 South Florida are better than the 6-3 Nebraska. Like I would rather play Nebraska than Kansas. If you're telling me like who should we play? So maybe being the number one seed isn't that great when you think about it. Um, and I'd rather play Louisville than Arkansas. Even though I think Arkansas, we would have played Arkansas, technically that would have been our third time playing Arkansas. I don't know if the committee would do that because when you look at these teams, like we've already played Miami, we've already played Arkansas. Ultimately, we'd have to have some rematches in there, but they'd probably shuffle some teams around just so that to the most that you can prevent playing the playing somebody, again. They definitely prevent it in the first round, but then after you get to the second, third round, it's pretty unavoidable. But but yeah, so that first round game in Tampa, those first two games in Tampa, and then if you were to win and go to the Sweet 16, it would be in Houston. Houston's got a Gator Club, so hopefully they'll show out and come to the game. I watched the Florida versus UConn basketball game last year in Houston. Believe it or not, I was at a conference. And they got a pretty decent little Gator club, so maybe they'll all be there at the game. So we'll see what happens. But our 8-9 matchup, now that I'm looking at Joe Lunardi's, um, is low key pretty well. Duke would play Utah State or Iowa, according to Joe Lunardi, which is like baby food. Miami and Ohio State, I think, are definitely the best 8 or 9 seeds on here. You got Clemson and UCLA. Yeah. So yeah, but hey, number one seed. That's what the goal is, and it's sheerly for the principle of You're the number one seed. Statistically, you have a better chance to advance than any other seed line.
100%. Yeah, no, dude. I hope we go to Tampa, man. I would show out, especially for the Miami Ohio State game. I think that'd be dope. That'd be a good time. Um, Great. All right. Any other things you want to look at with this or with basketball in general?
Yeah, if anybody has any comments, we'll get to them, but about basketball. But the only other thing coming out would be like the awards for the season that we'll start to roll in. So like they're gonna start naming first team, second team All America. They're gonna start naming like SEC Player of the Year, Coach of the Year, Sixth Man of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year. We've got players for every one of those awards slotted, as a candidate. Um, y'all know my vote is obviously for Thomas Houck to be Player of the Year in the SEC. I personally don't think it's close, but a lot of people are going to vote for Darius Acuff, who is a tremendous player. He's a very good guard. He's an electrifying scorer. Um, but when you think about, you know, um, an individual who went from who knows where he was from, Pennsylvania, playing volleyball, to now being has gone through this transformation to be this all everything LeBron's type player. Now, I'm not saying he's LeBron, but he gives us the same effect as LeBron does, playing offense, shooting, and defense, blocking shots, rebounding, passing the ball. He does everything. To me, that is in and of itself warrants the award more than just someone who um, is a generational talent that just is just on the court. It's just already that talent. I love seeing guys who were like um, nobodies and they become like this incredible team player. Um, so that's why I'd give it to Houck. If they give it to Acuff, I'm not gonna, you know, punch a wall or anything like that. I just think it'll give us a little bit more mojo. Defensive Player of the Year, it's gonna be Ruben Chinyelu. They're gonna vote for him as SEC Defensive Player of the Year. I don't think you can give it to anybody. That guy is a freaking monster. He's a terror on the terror between the rims when he's on the court. Um, and then Coach of the Year. I mean, I don't want to do this whole clean sweep, but how can it not? They're talking about giving it to Bucky McMillan at Texas A&M. I'm like, Bucky McMillan. Are you kidding me? Yeah, he had a great. I think they were like what 10-8 there for his first year. If that gets you Coach of the Year, as opposed to Todd Golden, who, by the way, did not win Coach of the Year last year, when he took a Florida team that came out of no one had Florida winning the championship last year, and he took that team with a bunch of guys that nobody had anyone on that team as an NBA player, and he won the national championship. They gave it to Bruce Pearl, his mentor. But it's kind of like it loses impact if you give it to Bucky McMillan, who plays this frenetic full court press style of play that I think is sort of gimmicky. It's not sustainable in the long term. It does not lend itself to developing NBA talent. You do not play a gimmicky full court press in the NBA. You just don't. You do not develop players that are going to make multi-million dollars when they go pro with that style. I mean, Billy Donovan used to do the full court press. He got out of it real quick when he learned that. So, to not give it to Todd Golden, to me, the award would be meaningless because this team was 5-4. Everyone's, they're trash. They're not. They don't have Walter Clayton. We're throwing them to the curb. And now people are saying that they're national champ candidate, Final Four or SEC regular season champ, 16-2 in the SEC with 11 freaking tournament teams in that conference with a 22 point. margin, and that's not coach of the year. Like it shouldn't even be. I know I'm a homer, but it shouldn't even be a conversation that these people are having in their brains. But you know, let them vote for somebody else and let Todd Golden bring home the chip, and that's all he matter. That's all he cares about. So
Get,
that's
put,
my
puts
spiel on that.
puts another chip on his shoulder. You know what I mean? Gives him something to play after, coach after. So that's all right with me. Um, but
Yeah.
yeah, no, seeing the switch up mid-season of this basketball team is unbelievable. Just seeing them, I mean, just figure who out, their identity and who they are. It's unreal. So yeah, I mean, even if Florida doesn't win it all, I agree. It's this dude should definitely get coach of the year. I believe I'm with you there. All right. Now let's go ahead and move on from basketball, Lee J, if you're down for that. And Neo said SEC doesn't like Florida. You should know that. That's true. No one likes Florida, dude. Everyone hates us. It's fine though.
Everyone, hey, we got to be the villain. We got to be the
Got to
villain. Hey, we're okay with that. We're okay.
for
Give it to
no.
Bucky. Give it to Bucky Ball. That's who that game wasn't even a game, by the way. Like we went in there and ran through them like a damn wet paper bag. So I don't want to hear anything about Texas A&M, Bucky Ball, any of that. No.
I agree. I'm with you. So let's go ahead and move on now to the football team, baby. This is a little segment that me and EJ wanted to do this week. Really excited for this one. And obviously with spring ball starting up, we're getting a lot of intel already kind of pushing through. We had the few
Yep.
practices last week, and there was been a bunch of interviews and a lot of media availabilities. With the coaches got in front of the media and answered a bunch of questions and kind of talked about the team, what's jumping out at them, what's not, all that. So we're going to pick one player. There's a few. This was tough to really narrow it down to one guy, but we're going to pick one player on offense, one player on defense. And it has to be an unknown guy. Not unknown where, like, you don't know his name, you know what I mean? But to the average fan, this name shouldn't really jump out at them is kind of the approach we're taking here. And we're going to pick the guy who we think is going to be kind of the breakout player in the spring game. Think about it in the past, right? Last year you had Dallas Wilson. Of course, a lot of Gator fans knew Dallas Wilson, but did they think that he was going to have the impact that he did, having the all-time highest receiving yards in the spring game in Florida Gator history? No, I don't think anyone expected that, or 20 years, whatever it was. The year before that, Jaden Ball, a very talented guy that came out of Atlanta, Georgia. Not too far from where I film when I'm up there, which is pretty cool. Bro came out of there and just dominated the spring game with his jump cuts, his ball carrier vision. Everything was just unbelievable. Something we haven't seen in a long, long time at that position. And we knew he was going to be a generational guy. So every single year at a spring game, there's always one guy that kind of jumps out at you. And we're going to kind of make our picks on breakout spring Gators for these upcoming weeks here, EJ. We're going to go offense and defense. Do you want to start with offense first?
Let's do it, man. It's hard, but let's do it.
Let's do it. Do you want to go
Oh,
first?
I think you still got the March Madness
I
up.
do. There we go. Now it's
Oh,
up.
okay.
My bad.
Wait, you want me to go? You want me to go first?
I'd go first if you want me to.
Okay, so I actually went by position because it was tough for me to kind of like who is that next guy. But all right, so can I give you like number one and then like two honorable mentions? So
I
like
like
if
that.
one of the three pop off, and this is how we're gonna do this. So if one of our guys pops off in the spring game, they give you like a Jaden Ball. Because remember, in the spring game, like I remember I went to the spring game like 6 years ago when I still lived in Florida. And Felipe Franks, he was the returner, and then Kyle Trask got in there. And I was like, Kyle Trask is actually he's the better of the two. And then that was the year where Franks got hurt, and then Trask came in, and Trask was like this great quarterback. Something like that. Jaden Ball a few years ago, like Logan just said, he popped off in the spring game and no one knew. We were like, who's this guy? And he's like running all over people. All right, so here's a couple of names that I think will pop off. Now, from the wide receiver, we know Dallas Wilson, we know VB3, we know Eric Singleton. Well, maybe some people know Eric Singleton. I don't know. But there's a transfer from Wake Forest named Bailey Stockton. Wait, did you pick him?
No. I have a different wide receiver for my
Okay.
pick.
All right, good. All right, good.
Bailey
Good.
came from Georgia Tech though.
Oh, he came from Georgia
It,
Tech.
it, it
Okay,
was
yeah,
it
yeah.
was Mays. Yeah, Mays Jr. came from Wake Forest.
Okay, great, great. Thanks. Thank you for that. Okay, so he came from Georgia Tech, which is great because, Philo and
Buster.
Buster Faulkner are, they know this guy, so they know what he's capable of. Um, and he's listed behind, the top four in the depth chart, trying to make a name for himself. I think in the spring game, and I went back and watched a couple of highlights of this guy. I'm telling you, he's gonna get open, and people are gonna be like, "Hey, double team Wilson, uh, hover down on VB3. He's fast." Bailey Stockton wide open. I'm telling you, it's gonna be now. Philo, can you get him the ball? Who knows? I'm telling you, this guy. We gotta watch out for this guy. And my two honorable mentions. Okay, you hope you didn't pick these guys. Everybody knows Jaden Ball. Okay, 11,000. No, 1,170. Maybe he's gonna get 11,000 this year.
What a year! What a year by Jaden Ball.
Yeah, maybe he'll get 11,000 rushing yards this year. I would love that. Just you. I think technically it's possible if you just like never get tackled. You could probably get 11,000 yards. Um, but I'm gonna go Evan Pryor is my first honorable mention. People are gonna be like, "Who's this Pryor guy out here running all over people?" Um, he came from Cincinnati transfer, had a very high grade on PFF. I think it was like in the mid 80s. He's the most experienced back outside of Ball, and he also is like a dual threat in terms of being able to get open and catch the ball. And we were talking about like the Buster Faulkner system. It's physical, it's deliberate, but it's also an offense that takes what the defense gives you at the end of the day as well. So that's how they continue to move the ball down the field. So if you got a guy that spells Jaden Ball, you won't miss a beat. So I really like him. Um, it was tough for me to come up with a third guy. So I'm gonna leave it with those two, Bailey Stockton and Evan Pryor. Uh, but I'm thinking one of these two is gonna pop off. We're gonna be like, we gotta start talking about this Stockton guy. So I'm telling you, those two.
Great picks. Great picks. Those two were honestly two of my guys that I narrowed it down to as well. But there's one other dude that I think that no one's really talking about. He's been on the team for a while. I think it's T.J. Abrams. I think T.J. Abrams.
Oh, okay, all
Based
right.
on, listen, I think he's a junior, redshirt junior at this point. He's getting up there. He's been with the program for a long time now. I think he's coming into this year going, this is my year to really make a difference and step up. TJ Abrams got open so much last season, but obviously we know why he didn't get the ball to him. But bro got open so many times. I think one of the better route runners on this team. But a guy that's going to have to fight Bailey Stockton for playing time this year. We know that those two guys are the same kind of player where they're super shifty. They have great route running and have some really good agile movement and agility. So it's going to be really interesting to see the battle between those two guys. Bailey Stockton, I think, is a great pick, and honestly, if it's not T.J. Abrams, it's going to be Bailey 100%. And Bailey has that advantage of being in that Buster Faulkner system. But T.J. Abrams has the advantage of knowing the culture of the Florida Gators and a guy who just has more experience in general. So I think that my pick's going to be T.J. Abrams. I really want this guy to succeed. I think he's a beast. I think, like I said, he has great hands. Even I think Buster was talking about in his interview, or maybe it was maybe it was Rusty Witt, but they were talking about like guys that are are going to go back there and return punts and return kicks. They brought up T.J. Abrams a lot. They brought up guys that they brought up T.J. Abrams in the backfield running the ball. in the rushing game for him. And so alongside Bailey Stockton. So like I said, it's going to be a battle between those two guys. I think they can both get touches, but I think TJ Abrams is kind of tired of being that guy that is kind of that fifth wide receiver that comes out and doesn't get a lot of looks and is doing that every time, Napier would have him on the field. His job was to do that instead of get down the field and utilize his route running. So I think he's a guy that can really jump out. I think he's going to surprise a lot of people. And even though people know his name, I think the impact he's going to make on the field is going to be pretty significant this year. So, but I like your two picks. So I think Evan Pryor is going to be an absolute monster. I think he's going to shock a lot of people. And another one of my honorable mentions, the reason I didn't pick it was because I don't know who's going to win the job. That's the quarterback position. I think either Aaron Philo or Trammell. I think those guys I think they're going to be a lot better than people think. We talked about it coming into this year, EJ, that the quarterback position for the Florida Gators, with this kind of offense that Buster's going to be running and with how many weapons are around him, you don't need to be a good you need to be a good quarterback. You don't need to be a great quarterback. You don't need to be a game changer. You just need to be a game manager. Just don't make mistakes. You know what I mean? Know the offense front to back. Know where your weapons are and where the ball needs to go, right? And trust your boys. I think that those two guys are capable of that. And I think with a full offseason, I think they can really take a step forward. Aaron Philo has that experience in Buster Faulkner's system, and you have Trammell Jones, who I think is fundamentally a phenomenal quarterback. I mean, look at his fundamentals, you know what I mean? Just his footwork and everything, it's there. It's just going to be a matter of him learning the system and him being able to, utilize the skill set that is there. So that's going to be interesting to see that battle this offseason. But I think that those two guys are going to be a lot better than what people think. My point is I think they're going to be game changers. I think that they're going to be, whoever wins that job is going to be a monster quarterback and going to shock a lot of people. So I'm really excited about that. I think those two guys are good picks as well. I just didn't know. I don't know who's going to win it. It sucks because I want both guys to win it so bad. I think they have, nice, really high ceilings. But there's no way to know. And Summerall talked about that.
We should definitely do like a spring game fantasy, game, match.
Yeah.
And just see like if Abrams is going to pop off. But I really like that pick. He's got like a running back. He looks like a running back when you're looking at him on the field, but he's really like a wide receiver. So we'll see what happens. I like Abrams. Is he gonna stick with we know that who got the number 1 jersey?
So VB3 got number 1, and then
VB3 got number
1. Bryce Thornton, a safety. Also got number 1.
Okay. Bryce Thornton got number 1 this year. Okay,
yeah.
All right.
VB3 though, so they both asked for it. Bryce Thornton asked for it very, very early, and Summerall was like, "You got to earn it." He earned it, obviously with the gauntlet and everything. And then VB3, he asked for it a little bit later. He didn't know if he was going to stay with 8 or go to number 1. He wanted to go number 1, and he said that he wanted to be number 1. Obviously, because he doesn't want to be number 1, right? It's just a dope number to have, especially at the University of Florida and all the legends that have had it. But he said that he wants to do it. I think I have the quote somewhere on here, but he was like, he said that he wants the pressure. He likes the pressure and the expectations that come with that because he knows that he can reach them, and it's going to give him more motivation and more of a drive. So I was like, bro, hearing that's dope. And also, too, VB3 and Bryce Thornton, what Summerall's been saying is like the worth ethic and their leadership as well is what stood out for them. So like they said that, I mean, he's saying VB3 is like one of the top leaders on the team. Like they said, bro's really stepping up, which is awesome to see, dude. So I'm like, obviously, if we're picking who's going to be the big breakout player, I think we'd probably both go VB3. Obviously, you got Jaden Ball as well. But I mean, because he's going to be a monster, man. So yeah, VB3, Bryce Thornton are both repping the number 1.
All right.
And then I just looked it up. Bailey Stockton's going number 3, which I think is pretty dope for a receiver. We haven't seen a number 3, I don't think, in a minute. So that's pretty cool.
It's been a minute. The best number 3 I can think of with Lito Shepherd. I don't know do you remember Lito Shepherd?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like old school Gator.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, yeah, you got him. I'm trying to think of any other number 3. I can't think of I'm sure we're missing like a big one.
Yeah, we're definitely missing like an obvious one.
There's been a few 4s. There's been a few.
Yeah, there've been a few 4s. Andre DeBose.
Yeah.
Was number 4.
Kadarius Toney was number 4 for a year. Like there's a couple of really, really talented dudes. But yeah, number 3 is a weird one, man. if anybody's watching this and anybody in the chat, let us know if we're missing a big number 3 because that's.
Wasn't Trey Wilson number? I think Trey
Oh,
Wilson.
yeah, yeah. Trey Wilson was number 3. Yeah, yeah.
He was number
He
three,
was.
but I'm trying to think like back in the day, like when we actually won something when we 20 years ago.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
don't know.
I remember Dallas Baker, touchdown maker,
Yep.
was number 81,
Hmm.
and then number 6 was wait, what was Lewis Murphy? Number 5? No, he was number 9. He was
Number
number 9.
number 9. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So
Joe Hayden
yeah,
was
I
number
don't.
5, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, we had a lot of good single digits, but I don't know about number 3. That's but it's gonna be clean though, dude.
good one.
Three is a
Yeah.
nice number. So yeah, I'm hyped. So that should be cool, man. Beautiful. All right, so those are our offensive picks. EJ, you got what was it again? You got Evan Pryor as an honorable mention, and
Bailey Stockton,
Bailey
number
Stockton
1.
is your number 1.
Bailey's. I like Bailey's.
I love it, and I got TJ Abrams. So that's gonna be fun to kind of. Yeah, no, I'm excited to come back from the spring game and see if our picks are right or wrong. That's gonna be fun. All right, defense. Defense. Now this got a little bit harder. I feel like for me,
Defense.
this was tough.
Defense. Yeah,
It's all
I
you.
all right, guys. We know all the players. Bryce Thornton's gonna be number 1. Cormani McLean, Dijon Johnson, Miles Graham. Jaden Robinson. My dog Jaden Woods, the Jackhammer. Um,
Wearing
Cameron James.
Woods is wearing number 0, I think, this year too, which is gonna go crazy.
That's hard. 0 is 0 a number? We don't know. It has no value. We'll see what happens. Boogie Flan wears number 0 for the Gators. So this one was tough, but I had to pull. I gotta go with somebody on my D line because I'm like, guys, when it comes to winning these games, you got to have somebody on the D line that's just when they snap that ball, I'm getting mine. You know what I mean? Like that's what you need. So I'm gonna go a guy who his first name starts with an E because I love E. I'm gonna go Emmanuel Oyebadejo. Can y'all say that 3 times
Hey,
fast?
you got it.
Can y'all say that 3 times fast? Oyebadejo. Okay. Now this guy is 6'7", so 6'7", and yeah, Logan doesn't like that.
No, it was good. It was clean.
Yeah, and I'm way older, so I look ridiculous saying it. He actually wouldn't if he said it. Anyway, this guy's from England. Like, when the hell did we get a football player from England? This guy comes over here. He's a freaking monster. Todd Golden might want him for the basketball team next year because we're losing some front court guys. But he's the highest graded defender on the depth chart according to PFF. He was like an 80 PFF at Jacksonville State, Alabama. Crib. Oh yeah, that's another trivia question. I ask people where Jacksonville State is. They automatically say Florida, but it's actually in Alabama, which is hilarious. This guy, I think, when it comes to making the offensive line have to devote attention to someone other than Jaden Woods, right? Or Cameron James coming off the opposite edge. He can also play edge. He can also play interior D lineman. So he's versatile. He recorded 6 quarterback hurries and forced 2 fumbles and had 5 pass breakups last season.
Damn.
And started all 14 games. So hey, if you can play all games and you're coming to Florida, that's what we want to see because y'all know we've been traumatized with people that can't play a full season. They get hurt. So 6.5 tackles for loss, 4.5 sacks, 41 tackles, 27 of them solo as a defensive lineman is great. So I'm gonna go Emmanuel Oyebadejo as my No one ever heard of this guy. Came out of nowhere. He's gonna get out there and do something for us. That's my guy. Did you pick him?
He was gonna be. He was my original pick, but then I came across someone else. He's a great one though. I agree, dude. I think he's gonna be a monster on that edge with Jaden Woods. I think those guys opposite of each other it's gonna be a problem. 5 pass breakups in a season is unreal as a
As a
defensive end.
lineman, as a
Yeah,
lineman,
that's
yeah.
ridiculous, dude. I mean, they were talking about him. I know Brad White was talking about him, our DC, and he was like, yeah, he's naturally so talented, but he's like, he just needs to, I guess his wingspan is even longer. His wingspan is like stupid. And so Bro can stand like, Windanyama or whatever and just do this and probably break it up if he wanted to. But no, and so he's like, he just needs to learn how to utilize his length and his wingspan and to push off the offensive lineman that he's facing against. So he said once he can utilize that, he's like, this dude will be unstoppable. So I'm really excited about him, dude. Yeah, I think he's going to be an absolute beast. Give that man as many beans and toast and tea and crumpets as he needs, and get him ready for the games. You know what I mean? I think that's going to be massive. So give him one of those queen fluffy guard hats. You know what I mean? Send him out there, let him do his thing, dude. So yeah, no, that's going to be. I agree. I think that's a really good pick. And they were talking heavily about him. But one guy that was in every interview, dude, every press conference, doesn't matter who was talking, they all were talking about the transfer from UCLA, Kanye Clark, coming in as that star nickel position with DBs. He's a redshirt junior. Like I said, came from UCLA, 64 coverage grade on PFF last year, which obviously isn't the greatest, but saw a very kind of limited amount of time. A guy who's also kind of been plagued by injuries a little bit in his past. He, like I said, lots of talk around the coaching staff from him. Randy, I think his name's, or no, Rusty Witt, our strength and conditioning coach, talked about the strength in this dude, how he's squatting more than double his body weight, how his cleans are ridiculous. Like, this dude's insanely strong. Some are all saying that he reminds him of Tez Johnson, who plays for the Bucks right now, and just the amount of the quickness and like the agility from this dude. He says it's like on another planet, and how sticky he is in coverage. He didn't talk about tackling, which I feel like at the star position is pretty important. It's something that we've been kind of plagued with a little bit in the past. But if he can get that down, or even if it's good, they're just not talking about this guy's. I think he's going to be a big dude to step up. Because we've had guys like Sharif Denson, we've had guys like Aaron Gates, but there's always been one hole in their play, right? For example, with Gates, it was Bro's run defense was horrible. So yeah, his man coverage was unreal with Aaron Gates, but zone wasn't great. His he didn't know how to really read the play. But if he knew, hey, I got to be on this guy, that's easy. And so there's been, and then Sharif Denson just tackling. But I think if Kanye Clark is really even close to what these coaches are kind of hyping him up to be, I think he's a dude that's really gonna step up for the Gators. I think he needed a kind of a reset in his college career and collegiate career, which is why I think he came to the University of Florida, literally on the other side of the United States. And they're saying that his worth ethic and just the grit that he has as a player in the gauntlet and just in the weight room, I think he earned the Iron Gator the first week of lifting and everything.
Yeah.
So like. This is a dude who is making an impact very early on in this defense. So I think it's a guy, I think Emmanuel is a very good pick. I think he might make an impact maybe even earlier and right away. I really do believe that. But I think if you might see, was it April 11th? I think you'll see Kanye Clark out there running around making tackles at a pretty key star nickel position in this Brad White defense. So yeah, man, keep an eye out for Kanye Clark.
Okay, and he's from Northern California. Okay. And let me tell you something. You can't be named Kanye and not be dramatic out there. You know what I'm saying? So you got to be doing something crazy out there when you get out there on that field.
Good morning, Kanye.
Yeah, it's good. So I see you. It's interesting. So he's going to be wearing number 20. I'm just interested in looking at these jersey numbers. But so is Duke Clark. So it's going to be like, hopefully we don't get the jersey numbers mixed up, where they're like, Clark, go out there. No, not that Clark, so we'll see what happens there.
I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, Duke Clark, I guess he'll be the third string running back this year. Yeah. Duke Clark.
He's still going to see a lot of time, though. That's going to be, dude, that's so weird.
Yeah, so him and Kanye Clark are both wearing number 20. Um, but yeah, hey, let's see what happens. I like that pick because you definitely, because it's supposed to be someone you've never heard of, and I'm kind of like, yeah, I never heard of this guy, so, uh,
It'll be interesting, man. I think all these guys we talked about though are gonna pop off. I mean, it's gonna happen. Bailey Stockton's gonna get a lot of time out there, and maybe as a gadget guy, even if he's not really a full time slot dude. And then T.J. Abrams, I think, has a chance, and Kanye Clark and Emmanuel. Not even gonna try to say his last name. I think those guys are really gonna make an impact early, man. So I'm hyped. I'm hyped. And you guys watching, you let us know what your picks are, man. One offense, one defense.
yeah,
Like I think that'd be a lot of fun because I think special teams. We obviously know who they're gonna be. But I think those guys are gonna pop off too. I think it's gonna be cool to see them out there doing their thing. But
we got a lot of Clarks. The punter is also Clark.
yeah,
Alec Clark,
it's true. Who
from Australia.
here's my question to you, EJ, and everyone watching though. What like and maybe tell me, should we do this? We should probably maybe do this for next week or yeah, definitely next week. Returners. Who do you want back there at punt return and kick return? And I mean, should we wait to
Yeah.
do that next week? Probably, right? Make that its own segment.
Yeah,
Let's do that.
yeah. I don't. Spoiler alert. I don't want it to be Jaden Ball.
Nah.
Okay. So, like, no, it's too. That's too risky of a. Just kick it out of bounds. Just But yeah, we could do that next. We don't have a. Do we have an Andre DeBose, a Brandon James? We need somebody that can. Uh-oh, don't kick it to this guy. Tony, Kadarius Tony. Remember, he was the punt returner. Like, I don't understand why coaches don't think about that. Like, maybe we just don't have anyone. But if you think about the easiest, most gimmicky way to just get momentum and get yards, it's finding somebody that can catch a punt and make somebody miss and get like 14 yards of return. 14 yards is actually really good. 12 yards of return. Like 12 yards on a average on a punt return is everything when you're thinking about field position and how much likely you are to score from starting at your 40-yard line versus starting at your 20-yard line. Like the percentages, it's almost like double, like points per possession. We don't think about analytics. Summerall also doesn't really strike me as an analytics type of guy. He's more like old school. Maybe he is analytics. I don't know. But to me, I'd be like, if it was Todd Golden, he'd be out there and he'd be like, no. Analytically, you got to start at the 40-yard line if you want to score. So how do we start at the 40-yard line? We got to get a punt returner that can run it back 15 yards. Get me a punt returner that can run it back 15 yards. Billy Napier is looking at, well, we're going to put Jaden Ball back there because he's our best player. No! Get somebody that can run the freaking punt. Like, look at Alabama. Alabama always has somebody that's going to a threat to take it to the house. So that's what we need.
I agree. I mean, dude, to the point where if I'm going to the transfer portal, I'm bringing in a guy just for that. Like, I'm gonna find a guy that is just quick and luckily I think we did that, dude. Bringing in Mays, I mean, even Pryor. Like, there's a lot of really good Bailey Stockton. There's a lot of really fast dudes back there. VB3, I think, can obviously be really, really good. We saw how good he was last year, but that dude's kind of so important that I'm like, do we really? You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe we do throw him back there, but you have Eric Singleton as well, who obviously is super speedy, and even these freshmen coming in, Justin Williams. Like there's a couple of dudes that you can throw back there, and they're shifty enough. So I think we have that. But I agree, dude. I think that's for some reason no one talks about that. Not a lot of people make an emphasis on it because I think that, like you said, starting at your 10 versus starting at your 22 is massive. Like that changes everything.
It's huge.
You know, starting at your 40 compared to starting at the midfield, like it's that is everything in a game. And not only analytically is it better, but I think even momentum and mindset wise, it changes everything. You know, if you're on your 10-yard line, you're already thinking, oh shit, we're behind. I can feel the fans behind me. You know what I mean? This is not great. The band's right there. You know, whatever. versus starting at the 20. It's like, all right, so what we see all the time. I'm used to seeing this in practice. So I agree. I think that's a massive thing that the Gators need to put an emphasis on. So we'll talk about that next week. Just a little sneak peek at it now. All right, just some things I want to talk about here that were in the press conferences. Big one was the injury report, EJ. A couple here that we're going to get into. These are guys that are limited, not fully out. So we got Dallas Wilson with a foot injury. He aggravated it. He would play if there was a game this weekend, I guess, yesterday. I'm going to say Sunday as we're filming this. So it's the same foot. He just re-aggravated it in the gauntlet. But he should be fine. He's going to recover. But hopefully he just doesn't end up a very injury-prone guy. Bro also put on like 7 pounds in the offseason. He's like 218 now. Something nice. Insane. He's a big body dude, which makes him even scarier. Next one, we have Miles Graham, shoulder, limited in practice. Probably not going to have any 11-on-11 time this spring. They really want to limit him there, so we probably won't see him in the spring game. But honestly, or any of the scrimmages. But honestly, I think that's a good thing because we know what Miles Graham can do. I don't think he really needs a spring and a fall camp. Obviously, would be very beneficial to him, especially taking a big step forward this year. But I think with how the linebacker room is a little bit thin for my liking, I think having a lot of these young guys, whether it's Ty Jackson or some of the young bucks that we really do like, kind of stepping up and being able to play, I think is going to be massive. So yeah, he should be fine. Titus Bullard, hamstring, very mild. I mean, he honestly is probably going to be practicing this week. Dijon Johnson, very key guy in the secondary. Knee injury coming off of it from last year when he did get hurt. Same. I think it was ACL, right? Whatever it was that hurt him. But so he's recovering. He should be fully back by the time spring is over, but it's kind of a day-to-day, just, slowly getting him back on the field with that rehab. Cornerback Javion Toombs, shoulder, got hurt in the offseason, non-contact, limited, no contact. Caden Jones, the offensive lineman, who I think is honestly going to be a big piece of our offensive line this year. He's a shoulder, non-contact, shouldn't be too bad. And offensive lineman Fletcher did not put his last name down, so we'll just call him
Westfall.
Westfall, yep. Few injuries, a couple different injuries actually that he's been facing, so he's a little bit limited there. So those are all the guys that are just kind of limited, nothing serious. They'll be perfectly fine, especially at the beginning of fall camp. The guys that are going to be out are freshman defensive lineman Kendall Gervil, who I think that one kind of blows because he's a true freshman dude, absolute monster, big 4-star recruit. It's a high school injury though he's coming off of. It's a knee injury. And for defensive lineman, you got to be careful with that. Redshirt freshman defensive lineman Jalen Wiggins, high school injury as well. It's a hip injury. He was on the team this past year, but still recovering from that hip injury. They got on that pretty quick. Freshman defensive back CJ Brano. He is that true freshman DB coming from Windermere High School, dude. Hey, shout out Orlando, baby. Let's go. High school injury, though, shoulder. So they're just, a lot of these guys coming straight out of high school, just getting them fully cleaned up before they throw them into stuff. And then freshman offensive lineman Chancellor Campbell, high school injury again. It's a knee injury. And redshirt freshman offensive lineman Daniel Pierre-Louis, last season, during the season, had a hip injury. So recovering from that. So those 5 guys are guys that are like out for the entirety of spring. And some of these freshmen, that does kind of suck. But they need to get right and get ready for fall camp. So that's kind of the little injury report there, EJ.
The only one that's is the hopefully Dijon Johnson. I know he was out for the year last year. Hopefully he can ease back into things, and hopefully we'll see him this year. But the Dallas Wilson issue, I don't know what to say. Like, we need to put him in the hyperbaric chamber, put him in the ice bath, whatever we need to do. But, that Texas game that he played last year was just incredible. And to just think, if you can get that level of player for 12 games, what that could do to a team.
Probably a 2-game shift. Like, legitimately will give you 2 more wins if that
there. Oh yeah, for sure. And the games that you didn't win, it wouldn't be 48-10 like when we played Tennessee. So that's a really important one, and hopefully it's not like he's injury prone type of thing, but I don't know. It's just some of these football and basketball, like knock on wood, in basketball we've been very healthy, right? And then you play Kentucky in basketball. This is the second year in a row where they've had like 4 or 5 guys out for the year. And so it hurts them their ability to figure out like who's a good player that we can play. Same thing with our football team. Like 2 years in a row, so many guys injured. You really can't you really can't put your best foot forward from a competition standpoint if folks that you think could really contribute are all out. So it'll be interesting to see the strength and conditioning under Coach Witt to see if you know the fundamentals that they're taught can contribute to staying healthy throughout the year. How you land, how you tackle, how obviously you're going to get those random injuries, but the injuries that are just a result of attrition and just poor fundamentals, um, hopefully we can just weed all those out and start to play because you're never going to you're never going to win a championship. You're never going to be competitive if we always look at an pregame injury worksheet that has 13 names on it, and every one of our opponents has like one or no names on it. And that's been the last 2 years. So let's see what happens. Fingers crossed, knock on wood. Let's get healthy.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. I mean, that's you look at all these really successful teams that win national championships that make deep playoff runs, and it's because they've been healthy. And so,
Yep.
that needs to be a key emphasis. And I feel like that's something that Rusty Witt was talking about a lot in his press conference and just different interviews and stuff that he's done. Was just talking about getting these guys conditioned, getting them ready for a full 12 game season. And if you go to the playoffs, that extra possibly 5 games, right, that you could
Yeah.
play in the postseason. It's wait, yeah, 5. It's ridiculous. So I'm glad they're making an emphasis out of that, and we'll see what that shift is like with Rusty Witt. Just 2 more things here, quick things we could talk about. Summerall said there's no time frame or timeline on the quarterback battle. He says that when he was at Tulane and they had Darian Mensah that first year. Darian Mensah was all the way at 3rd string quarterback, and he didn't get starting position until the week before the first game, before week 1. So this is not going to be decided over spring ball. They'll obviously technically add or not add, but designate a starter just so they could do the orange and blue team. I don't know how they're doing that this year, but the
Yeah.
actual decision won't be made until fall camp, most likely middle to late fall camp, probably late fall camp. Honestly, it's going to be probably pretty close battle between these guys, but you never know. I mean, I'm sure you'll start to hear things about these 2 guys, later on, and when the scrimmages especially start to happen. I think those are really going to jump out. But once again, you don't know. Like Kyle Trask is an example of a guy who was a bad practice quarterback, but you put him in game and he's unbelievable. You know what I mean? And vice versa, where there's great practice guys and they get in a game and they don't know what's happening. So, you really don't know until you do these scrimmages. You really don't know until you get these guys in the swamp April 11th and when they start playing games next year. So, or this, later on this year. So it'll be interesting there, EJ. Do you have any
Yeah.
predictions on who you think will take it?
You know, we probably should do like a pre-spring, like who do we think is gonna do something? But
Yeah.
with Philo, it's complete conjecture, and really with Trammell, it's also that too. Because I mean, we saw Trammell against LIU. I mean, he was okay. It wasn't like we were lighting up the scoreboard. Um, I think Trammell Jones probably has a higher ceiling from an athleticism standpoint. Um, and he can find the bathroom at UF. You know, he's been there a year. Um, Philo's got the advantage of, you know, the language and the lingo that Faulkner is going to use. He's familiar with it. So from an execution standpoint, he's got that edge. Um, I think the spring game, if it's Philo is over the orange team and Jones is over the blue team, that'll be a great battle. We'll see how that works out. Um, but I think how Napier did it, which I don't know if I liked it that way, was, or did Napier do it that way? I don't know. It was like the orange team had the first team offense and then the second team defense, and the blue team had the first team defense and the second team offense. So if you're kind of like, who's going to be the quarterback on the second team offense, because now you're at a complete disadvantage. You know what I mean? Or should they do it draft style where it's like, okay, there's an equal balance on both teams of first team and second team players so that it's like an even matchup in the spring game. That to me would be a little bit more fair. Um, or you could do it where you do it that way, but then you alternate the two quarterbacks um, between, you know, they wear black jerseys, and so, you know, you don't touch the quarterbacks, and we see, you know, which one of those guys can come out and have a really good game. It'll be interesting to see, you know, the style of the spring game, but yeah, I don't know. It's tough. I'm hoping, like, I've seen Jones play. I haven't seen Philo. If Philo comes out and is just like drop and dime, bam, 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 okay, it's just not, you know. But if Tramel Jones comes out and gives us some, you know, surprises us a little bit, um, you know, good for him.
It'll be really fascinating for sure, man. I'm excited. No, I think how the rosters will be and the depth charts will be actually structured is going to be interesting. So we'll, of course, when that drops, we'll give you guys instant reaction, talk about all that. So yeah, that'll be a fun battle to keep an eye on. I think that, you know, obviously Philo, I would say, is a more natural runner. But I don't know, because Philo also is a phenomenal quarterback passing the ball in high school. So I just really like Tramel Jones' fundamentals. I think that's going to find more consistency and accuracy and more comfortability. I feel like you can really build off of that as a foundational thing. So yeah, but like you said, Philo, I mean, just has more experience. So it'll be interesting for sure. Um, the other big thing I just want to touch on real quick, Joseph Mbachu has gained 23 pounds. So he's all the way up to, I think, 323, if I'm not mistaken. And Summerall was like, yeah, that's gonna be our nose tackle, which is obviously huge because we talked about that, EJ. We're like, all right, do they go 3-4? Do they go 4-3? Multiple? What are they gonna do? And to have a 3-4 defense, you need to have a big time nose tackle that can really hold those two gaps in the middle. Well, I mean, Mbachu seems to really be stepping into that role. At, like I said, 323 pounds, big frame, a guy who was pretty good last year when he did play and pretty consistent. Didn't change the game at all, but was a pretty solid player. And so if he could take a really big step forward here and just do his job to hold those gaps, man, and play to his best ability, I think he could be a really, really good nose tackle. So that's just something that Brad White was talking about, which I think is massive. Just so now you can do more things. You're more multiple.
And when you think about like Mbachu, for example, because I remember that I remember his number 97. Um, that's one thing that I'm going to be watching this year with Golden and White and Faulkner is player improvement and development. Um, can they take a bunch of guys? We're not asking for much in year one. Maybe make them a bowl game, you know, win 7, 8 games, you know. Um, can they take guys who are highly touted? We had some stars, and can those guys get better as the season goes along? Right. That's something we never saw with Napier. You know, guys just never really became emerged as like really dominant players. The only person I think was Jaden Baugh, but did Jaden Baugh really improve, or was he just always? Because in the spring game when he played, we were like, okay, this guy's running all over everyone, you know. So that's the thing. Like, can every player in every position improve? And then you got to stay healthy. It goes back to like the basketball team example. Like, what makes Todd Golden such a great coach is every single player gets better and plays a vital role in scoring, defending, and helping the team win. Football is even more important because you don't really see a guy like Mbachu. He doesn't score touchdowns, he doesn't catch, wide open passes, but when the ball is snapped, is he getting underneath that court and he's making the quarterback like, oh crap, I gotta run? Or is he getting a hand on the running back so that the linebacker can make a tackle? Is he getting better at doing that every single game? Or are we just getting pancaked every time we get the ball snapped? Um, so that's something, player improvement. Um, and all the guys that we mentioned today, they should, by the end of the season, we should mention them and be like, hey, they got better. Look at these guys. They're playing really good. If not, I don't know. I'm a little worried.
I agree. I mean, that really just comes down to coaching. And I think that just doing the gauntlet and everything, I mean, you could tell Summerall's approach to the player development and just the cohesiveness that he's really trying to build with this program and making such a big emphasis on that, dude. I feel like there's no way our boys don't get better. I feel like he's also, like, you watch the spring practice clips, he's so engaged with every station, with every single group of guys. Like, bro wants, he's crazy. He wants to get hit. You know what I mean? If he could go put on pads and go play linebacker for the orange and blue game, he would. You know what I'm saying? He would get out there just to have fun. He's that kind of guy. And so, yeah, man, it'll be interesting to see. And I do agree. I think that's something that we do need to watch for, especially with the first two games we play. We play FAU, we play the Camels. You know what I mean? I don't know what they are. They're something.
The Owls.
The Campbell Camels. So yeah, we play the Owls and the Campbell Camels. And so those are two easy games right off the bat that you have space to actually, grow at your boys and get ready before you have to travel to Auburn, to Jordan Hare, which is going to be a crazy environment, and I bet you will be a night game. So we need to lock in and hopefully we'll be at. So we need to lock in and prepare for that. And the only way to do that is to take what you learned from those first two games and apply them. Billy Napier, one thing we saw under his coaching staff and under him in particular with his teams is that we saw the same mistakes being made over and over and over again, no matter what it was. Player mistake, coaching mistake, whatever. I mean, it was brutal. They were operating like the shot clock guy was last night in last night's game. You know what I mean? You remember that?
Yep.
I don't know what that was about, dude. Todd Golden was going crazy. He was like, bro, what are we doing? But that was literally how our team was being run. And so, I hope we find a little bit more of just hey, we made a mistake, let's not make it again, which we haven't seen at the University of Florida in 4 years. So, and we're really in a long time. So it'll be interesting, man, for sure, EJ. But yeah, no, I'm with you there. I think that's something that we really need to make a emphasis on.
The Campbell Soups.
Yeah, the Campbell Soups. I love it. All right, I think that's going to be all the content that we had written down for today. EJ, anything else you want to touch on before we dip?
Friday at 1:00 Eastern, the Gators will be taking on somebody, hopefully Missouri, in the SEC tournament. So we're all eyes on Nashville right now. The Gators are eyeing that number one seed. Got to win that game. That'll be a quad one game. Missouri, I think, is, let me see their net rating right now. Oh, dang. Oh, that's Ken Palm. Sorry, guys. Give me a second here. So to get a quad one game, you have to beat a team that's in the top 50 on a neutral court. So Missouri right now, damn, they're not in the top 50 on.
I have them as 59. Is that accurate?
Yeah, never. Yeah. So, dang, that wouldn't even be a quad one win for us.
It'll be a moral victory though. We need it.
Missouri, what the hell? Okay, so now we need Kentucky to beat Missouri. Even though I don't want to play them 3 times, we're trying to get quad one wins because that's what they apparently are. Oh yeah, you got to get a quad one win. So we got to get Kentucky. Then Vandy is definitely in the top in the net. They're like number 16. So that would definitely be a quad one win. And then Arkansas or Alabama would be a quad one win. So yeah, so you're right. Boo Missouri. Go Kentucky.
It'll be fun, man. We'll definitely be watching. I'm excited, baby. Let's get it. But listen, we appreciate all you guys viewing this, man. If you're watching this live, shout out to you, baby. Give this video a like. If you're not, give this video a like anyway. Subscribe while you're here, baby. Hit that little bell notification so you're notified every single time we go live. And listen, we also post a lot of videos throughout the week from this live stream. So if you missed a little bit of it and you don't want to try to go rewatch it because we don't have timestamps or whatever, just wait for the week. We're going to be releasing these videos all throughout, so you guys be ready for that, baby. Check us out on our socials as well. We post a lot of stuff on our stories and post a lot of things on there. That'll be in the link in the description right now. It's not there yet, but it'll be there soon. Yeah, we appreciate y'all watching as always, baby. EJ, any last words?
Lock it in, baby. Lock it in.
Lock it in. Let's get it. Go Gators as always. We'll see you next week, baby. Later.